Today I want to talk about MSP files and how to use PowerShell to extract information from them. There's been a lot of information out there on the internet how to extract information from an MSI file, but I have seen very little, if any, on getting the info from an MSP. And you also may be wondering, well, what am I ever going to need information from an MSP file for? Well, there's other scripts that I've written that actually benefited from being able to extract this information, and I'll go into that a little later here. So the first thing we're going to do is use PowerShell Studio, which I just want to get off on for a second here and say PowerShell Studio is awesome. If you've never used it, if you're really wanting to do some deep learning in PowerShell, PowerShell Studio is the thing to use. As you can see here on the screen, the functionality that it provides for writing PowerShell code is phenomenal. I'm going to show you a couple things. For instance, if you want to put a synopsis, your description, you can enable command binding and create your parameters right here if you want to go in there and do details on your parameters. The nice thing about PowerShell Studio is it gives you all this functionality here that you may not remember. You may be in a rush, you may be trying to write code fast, forget some things. Well, PowerShell Studio puts it right in your face, and it really helps to writing really efficient code. For instance, validation, you can see right here you got your full drop-down menu of those. I just wanted to take a little few seconds here and give you an overview of that. But back to what we're talking about. So using MSP files, using PowerShell to extract information. So this is a quick script that I've written here that will basically look at an MSP file. I'll bring over my window. So as you can see, here's the script. I pulled out an MSP from the Microsoft Office 2010 updates folder. So we're going to run this. So basically, I've already filled out the way I wrote the script was you point the file name here to the MSP file name and MSP property. We're going to look up the KB article number. So I've got a debug set here. So we're going to start and we're going to debug this. Okay, so now let's get into the function here. So the way I've set this function up is from a lot of different MSP files such as Microsoft Office, Adobe Acrobat, Adobe Reader, all these MSPs, I've seen that they pretty much share these set of properties to search for in the MSP table. Now let me show you here real quick before we continue in the script. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Orca, and we're going to edit this MSP we're looking at. So the table we're going to look at here is that you want to actually grab information is the MSI patch metadata table. So if you open this MSP up like we did here in Orca, and you go to the this table, you'll see these properties, and these properties are what I'm actually looking for right here in that I'm using the validate set for the property field. So as you can see, from what I have seen, these are the most common properties spread across the different industries, different manufacturers of these. Now, if you find others, you can always add them in here to your validate set. The reason I use a validate set is that way I know, I've got an idea right there, the most common ones to look for. All right, so let's go ahead and debug through. And we're going to go. All right. So when I wrote this script, I put a lot of commenting so that you kind of understand. If you're just learning how to use PowerShell to extract data from the MSI or MSP file, I've tried to put a step-by-step tutorial in here by commenting each line, telling you what each line does. So the first thing we're going to do is here, as that says, it's going to create the Windows installer object. And as you can see right here at the bottom, under the variables box, the Windows installer, it created that COM object. All right, the next one, what the next one does is it's loading the MSI database. All an MSI or an MSP file is a database. That's all it is. So as you can see here, the path, that's the name of the file that we passed in here, and you're doing a path dot the full name, of course. And as you can see there, when I hovered over it, it's got the full location and name of the file there. Now there's one specific thing in this line right here that was critical to this, and this is how I solved for being able to extract information from an MSP file. This right here defines what the method that it's going to use to open the database. Now what do I mean by that? Well, I found this one page on Microsoft right here when I was Googling, trying to research this, trying to figure out how to load information. This one page is what solved this whole thing for me. So on this line, you typically see this not a 32 but a 0. 0, as you can see right here, opens a database read-only. So, and that only opens an MSI database, not an MSP. So as I was going through this, I ran across the value of 32, and it says MSI open database mode patch file. That's the key, patch file. So that's what allows it to function for an MSP file. Now, to be honest, I haven't messed with these others, but from what it looks like to me, and I'm probably going to come back later and write some new scripts for being able to actually edit values within an MSI file. I don't know if you'll be able to edit the value in an MSP. That's a good question, but it looks like that can be done by these other values other than 0 and 32, which are the only two I've actually worked with. So this page right here from Microsoft's developer resources was the key to actually solving this. All right, so we're going to go on to the next one, do an F11. All right, so now, as you can see, it became a COM object, so it's got the MSI database, which is actually an MSP. All I did was just copy this code from an MSI query that I had written, or actually downloaded off the internet. So the next line, all it's going to do is specify the query to query the MSI patch metadata file. And when we opened up the, MSI patch metadata table, and we opened up that MSP file, that's where this is what it's talking about right there. So that's what it's pulling the information from, and where the property, this is equal to the property we specified when we that we passed into this, which would be one of these. And actually we asked for the KB article number. So the next thing here, alright, what this does is, the next two lines, this basically opens up the property view. Alright, this next line here, it's going to basically retrieve the associated property. Now this last one, that property that we retrieved within the MSI patch metadata, the KB article number, now it's actually going to extract the value from that. And as you can see right here, there you go, 2687455. That's the KB number of this actual MSP patch. And there you go. It returned the actual, as you can see right there in the output, it returned the value. It got the MSP file info. The property, it got the KB article number for this file right here. That's as easy as it is to actually retrieve this information from an MSP file. It's not difficult. As you can see, that one key web page, the installer open database method page at Microsoft, is what the key to this was. Now, if you're interested in, as I was saying earlier, if you're interested in maybe writing a script that could actually make changes to the MSI file or the possibly the MSP file, it looks like that's possible too. And that's, as I said, going to be in future blogs of mine on being able to do that. So you might wonder, like I was saying in the initial, you might wonder, well, why do I need to do this with an MSP? Well, for instance, one script I wrote last year was an SCCM script that goes out there, and there's an automatic deployment rule set up in SCCM to automatically download the latest Microsoft Office updates. And of course those updates are written to a directory, so what happens is it downloads them and they're in this file name format. Well, one thing that Microsoft does is sometimes when they have another update, it's going to have the exact same name. That is after you've extracted the MSP file out. Well, I set up the script that it will go in and extract the KB article number, and then it renames those files to KB and the article number .msp. That way they can all reside within the same update folder within the Microsoft Office installer folder. So that's one use right there that you could use this for. Well, I hope this has helped, giving you a good idea how to actually get information out of an MSP file. Now, if you want to use this also for an MSI, you can. All you would have to do is come through here, that highlighted part right there that I did, the 32, change that to a 0, and then you could actually look at an MSI file. But of course, I'll remind you another thing though, you would have to come up here and change these property fields here because those are likely not going to be the same in a MSI file as an MSP. Again, I hope this has been a great tutorial for you, and feel free to give any feedback. Thank you.